Hey guys, so I wanted to connect with you. It's Friday morning. I'm just going to go over a post that I made, and some of you might have read it, but I want to add more detail to it and just kind of connect with you on a few things. You might not be able to read this as I'm looking at this unless you expand your video. Maybe you're on your phone. So it's more for me than you. I just want to kind of guide my thoughts and again, kind of expand upon what I shared in this post. So I said, today, I wrote this today. Today I got this list of what I'm going to be working on. I think this can bring some insight into what I do that gets such great results. Most of this you do not have to do. Much of this uh, you'll never have to do because I'm doing a lot that puts a lot of structure in place. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, by the time you do have to do a lot of these things, you're already making really big money. With making a lot of money comes responsibility. And while we're here to build residual income that we can kind of walk away from and still have it coming in, the reality is as you're building it, when you start to make that bigger income, you start to have more responsibility. And this is going to reflect what some of that is. Now, you don't have to do all of this because I'm doing a lot of framework and structuring that you could just plug into. And there's other great leaders here that are doing the same. But there's some of this that's on the relationship building side that you will want to do in your own way as your business grows, as you start to make more money. You can't be mindless and too hands off about this process. You have to be passionate about it, like any business. It's just easier than any other business to be able to succeed. It's more forgiving. Like you take time away or you don't maybe have a lot of skills, and it gives you lots of room to grow. And it's just in that regard, it's very forgiving, but you still have to be passionate about it. Okay. Today I'll be notifying all of those in my Daily Choice team who are at any level, even the free affiliate level, or those who signed up at various levels who stopped ordering. So they signed up a long time ago at director or executive, and then they stopped ordering and dropped off the face of the earth. I'll be contacting them too and letting them know of all the enrollments that took place below them, because yesterday was Thursday. It's the cutoff date. New enrollments came in for the week. And I don't always do this, but I'm going to start making it a habit. It's at least one of my priorities. Again, this business is very forgiving. It's very forgiving. You can set up priorities and you don't always do it. Like I had this in mind and I haven't always done it, but I'm still okay. But I'm going to try to focus in on it because I know that this will help a lot to help people understand what's happening in their business, that things continue to happen, even if they're like out of the loop, and what they need to do if they want to benefit from it. So I'm going to be contacting all these different people in the team that are different levels and different situations and contacting them. I'll attempt, and this is the relationship side. I just want you guys to understand, like I'll attempt, and again, I may not have time, but I'll attempt to write each group separately. Okay. I know there's typos and stuff. It's because I got so much content to push out, guys. I just don't do a lot of like spell checking and stuff. I hope you can be forgiving on that because I'm just not going to like spend too much time on typos and spell checking. As long as you can understand, it's all I really look for. I'll attempt to write each group separately. So I'll write the people, well, let me just read this. So I can really target the message. For example, my message about the good news of all the enrollments that came in this past week underneath them, in my call to action. In other words, after I share that with them, what step do I want them to take next to learn about the compensation plan, or maybe study a video from Eric Worre, one of the top trainers in the industry. Like I'm going to give, and some of you are going to see this. You all should see it. I'm going to be contacting I'm going to try to contact everyone on my Daily Choice team of all the exciting things in the enrollments that happened last week that I am aware of. There's even more than what I'm aware of, which I want to make clear to them as well. And then I'm going to have a call to action, a step for them to take. At least that's the attempt. That's the aim. But it's different. Here's the point. It's different for each different team member group. So for example, those who signed up at executive or director a while back, and then they dropped off the face of the earth, they would get a slightly different message and a different call to action, perhaps, at least I consider it, than those who signed up, at the free affiliate level recently. And like they just signed up and I haven't even, heard from them or connected with them. It's a different message. And I'm going to share those emails with you so you can kind of see how I do that. And again, this is just my intention. I could run out of time, some kind of emergency could come up. And that's what's so cool about this business. And that's what we mean by it's so forgiving. And you don't have to have this extreme workaholic type A personality who's hyper focused on their work and is a master at it. And you can still be successful, because like I'll make these priority, as opposed to other businesses, by the way, where you do need to be just genius level, you know, person really on a lot of levels, like implementation and stuff. You don't have to be here. I'll set a priority like this, and it's just an intention. Now, as I work through this, I'm going to share with you the emails that I send out, so you can see how I send a different message to those who signed up for free recently versus those who signed up at director or executive 4 months ago who dropped off the face of the earth, versus those who are my top producers, or moving towards becoming my top producers that are in it to win it. Like, sometimes I'll email them all the same message because I just don't have time, but I'm going to try. My intention is to email them separately because it's a different message. And I want you to see that that's part of the relationship building process that takes place when you're using email. And it doesn't just pertain to team members and notifying them of the good news. It also pertains to notifying, and this is another thing on my list today, I'm going to be notifying all pre-enrollees what they missed out on. Yesterday was the cutoff date. A lot of them missed out on enrollments. And in fact, I'll be doing the same thing where there's kind of different groups. Like there's some people who only had maybe, some free affiliates sign up underneath them because they're kind of towards the bottom of the chain. My message to them will be different because they're new to the process, as opposed to people that got an executive underneath them. Like the message will be different. So I have to email them separately. And that's what a lot of you aren't doing. And I understand it's an extra step and it's an extra effort. And I know you can't always do it, but you need to try to do that and do it as much as you can to email these different groups a separate message instead of trying to pack it all into one email and talk to all of them, because it just doesn't hit them. You have to speak directly to where they're at. Like you have to say, like, for example, if I'm going to contact pre-enrollees that just recently signed up and maybe yesterday they didn't have anybody sign up underneath them, I would email them and say, hey, you might have saw some emails go out yesterday about the Thursday cutoff. And I wouldn't even mention anyone signed up underneath them. I would just be saying, every Thursday this happens, keep your eye out. Here's where you log in and check your stats. Here's where the comprehensive review, so you understand what it means. As opposed to me emailing pre-enrollees today who got some signups underneath them. And let's say one of the signups, was an executive. My message in that email is, hey, I wanted to let you know yesterday an executive came in, they were underneath you, but you lost them because you didn't enroll in time. And while I'm not here to beat you up about it or make you feel bad about it, I just want you to understand, like, this keeps happening and every Thursday will keep happening. And, so I'm speaking directly to them. So I'll try to share some of those messages with you. And again, this is a lot about building a personal relationship. I don't want to lose track of where I'm at. Let me see what's going on here. So this was an example of an email I already sent out to one of these groups. And I titled it My Apologies because I actually meant to send this notification to this group of pre-enrollees last night to say, hey, an executive just enrolled underneath you. I just want to let you know you have a few hours left. If you want to keep them in your organization, here's what it means. Here's the comp review. And I went to hit send, and I thought I sent it, and I walked away because I was in a hurry to leave, and it didn't send. So this is another thing I want to show you, another side to what I'm doing that I know a lot of you really aren't integrating in, where I don't just like slough that off like, oh, the email didn't go out, bummer. Like, I turn it into an opportunity. And I've talked about this, but how much are you guys really seizing these things and really looking for these opportunities to build relationships? Because again, through an email, when I send out with the subject, my apologies, and I send, and I'll read this to you so you get a feel for it, letting them know what happened, that's the relationship building side. And then you're not just pitching all the time. It's like, it's a human element to what's happening. And that's the piece a lot of you aren't bringing, is that human element. And it's really easy to do. And it's going to be unique to you. Like, for example, me not sending that email last night when I thought I did, and waking up this morning and realize, oh, I didn't notify those 500 people they had an executive that they were going to lose. Instead of just like ignore it, it's a unique situation. And you're going to always have these unique situations. You have to look for opportunities to do something like this. So this morning I saw that, and instead of just saying bummer and forgetting about it, I sent out an email to that same group of pre-enrollees, and I say, my apologies. And I go, yesterday I intended to send this email to you with the subject, more good news. But as I rushed out to have dinner at a nice restaurant with my kids for the first time since the lockdown, I apparently didn't hit the final confirmation button, so this didn't go out. I'd like you to read it and to understand that every Thursday at midnight this happens. And each time it happens, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. So instead of waiting, I encourage you to learn what Robin and I have been doing for you. Don't keep waiting to the last minute to get this figured out. And then, it says, here's the email you were supposed to get. This is the email I meant to send out last night. If you're getting this, you have 6 more affiliates who enrolled, la-di-da-di-da. And it showed them how to log into their site. It talked about different options to sign up. And you can you can steal this copy and you can integrate this into what you send out and look at some of the other emails you send out and kind of make it different so they're not all the same every week when you're notifying them of these things. But guys, this isn't rocket science and it's not really hard. I want to be really clear, and I'm going to get back to my daily task list and the point of this video. But I just want to say this is not complicated, but I'm bringing a human element to it that I know a lot of you aren't, and you've got to do that, or you are and then you aren't. I mean, I'm always just integrating that in. Sometimes I'll just send out like an email, like I'm sharing with you, the same ones you send out. But when stuff like this happens, I'm always integrating in a human element where possible. And you can see where that would make it feel a lot different. So look for those opportunities constantly. I want to go back. I'm not sure. Let me just hit the back button. Will it take me there? Let's see. By the way, I put at the top here a different picture to show that June 20th, we got another event coming up that you can register for, June 20th with My Daily Choice. Okay, so again, recap, I'm notifying everyone in my Daily Choice